talk from our board. Please welcome.
Praise God. Praise God again. My name is Jethro Wambugu. I'm from the Health Board. This year, on 23rd of July, we held a screening camp in church, as well as a blood donation drive. As part of giving back feedback to the church, Studio can project for us what we found out. On that date, 127 of us came up for screening. We had various things done, measurements, blood pressure, and BMI calculated. And as you can see, most of us who showed up were female, about 80, as opposed to males. And then again, as we move along, when we did our BMI calculation, which is the body mass index, showing how healthy or unhealthy we are, you see we have a bit of a problem because just about a quarter of us are normal or underweight, about 30%. More than 60% are either overweight, quite badly obese, and 2 of us actually morbidly obese. So we have a problem. We may not look like it, but just about a third of us can qualify to be what is called fit of our weight compared. Then as far as our blood sugars are concerned, most had normal blood sugars, but we had 3 of us who are nearing diabetes, and 2 actually who are diabetic. As far as blood donation is concerned, we had 24 donors donate blood. Your cards are ready. You can pick them up from me, from the usher's desk or the welfare desk. Relating to these findings, today we have with us a nutritionist who will come and talk to us in as far as living healthier lives is concerned. And please welcome Philip to come and give us a short talk on healthy living. Introduce himself.
Praise the name of the Lord. My name is Philip Lundu. I'm a clinical nutritionist. I practice here at Aga Khan Hospital, Mombasa. I want to thank the church leadership for acknowledging the health status of the church members, for the invitation to come and discuss about the nutrition part on the findings that we have seen being projected. And I've seen one of my colleagues seated there, Gracia. We work together. I remember Gracia when she went through a program, what we call postpartum program. Now, when she delivered, when you are expectant, you tend to gain more weight. Then bringing down weight, you gain like 15 to 20 kg. Then you want to go back to ideal body weight. So we took a journey. It was delicate balancing between the health status of the baby and achieving the ideal body weight. So today, I'm going to discuss about something from the statistics that we have seen. You see that thing that you are seeing there? That is food. That is mahamri. That is mitai. That is chapati. That is kaimati. Okay? That is soda. That is juice. That is biscuit. That is cookies. If you are among those people, they say that you are overweight and obese. That's how you look like inside. Okay? So you need to do something. So we want to look at the first slide of what we are going to do. Please don't be scared. There is some way outside. Our health starts in the kitchen. Your kitchen is where determines how healthy you will be, not from the doctor's office. Majority of the people come to the hospital, you come because you made a mistake in your kitchen. So your health status starts in the kitchen. Most people think that eating health is expensive. When we talk about eating health, it's about the preparation, having an intentional choice of food, ingredients, the portion, and the frequency of what you're going to eat. Now, the cost of eating unhealthy food, the junk food, the pizza, the samosa, the cost now is you become obese or become overweight. When you're overweight, you are more predisposed to diabetes, to high blood pressure, and other chronic conditions. Next slide. Now, one of the major causes of diabetes, in fact, from the statistics that I see right now, women in this church, they are more obese than men. And it is true. Women eat more than men. They usually lie. When they are cooking, they are biting something. They are tasting salt. Okay? When they are serving on the table, they will eat. And then they will not eat much. Now, the leftover, they will take it to the kitchen. Now, when they are washing the utensils, they will say, Watoto kule Turukana wako na njaa, wacha nikule ili situpe. They eat. So, even when you take a lady for a date, when you see them eating a bite, it's not that they don't want to eat. They want privacy. Allow them to carry. So, you know, that lady, that wife that you have in the house, my wife, if it was not for food with other factor, you know, I told her, can I take you out for a date? I know a particular joint, a particular restaurant. They cook a nice meal. She said yes. So when we went there, nikachilia mtama. Now right now she's in my house. No, we started with food and love and everything else. So women, you need to check on your, especially they are too much emotional. When they are emotionally down, they're more prone to align themselves to particular food, which we are going to see on the subsequent slide. So obesity, when you're talking about obesity, is when your BMI is above 30 and above. Overweight is between the BMI of 18 to 24.9. That's when you are overweight. Now, if you look at that apple there, if your body shape looks like an apple, just know that you have got high risk of having diabetes, high blood pressure, and other chronic condition. But if your body shape looks more of an apple shape, that is a bit better. You have got reduced risk of having diabetes, high blood pressure. Apart from that, don't celebrate. You check on your waist circumference. Now for men, your waist circumference should not be more than 40 inches, 1 or 2. Your waist circumference. Your BMI can be okay, but your waist, unajua kuna watu ambao when you see their tummy, it's bigger than any part of the body. Yeah? It's like they're adding something. And it's not okay for men to have like a visible breast. When you see a man having a visible breast like a woman, that is not okay. And then for women, your waist circumference should not be more than 88 centimeters. This is now you move more from BMI. BMI is just an health indicator. It's not a final thing. You can be having a BMI of 20, but you have got high visceral fat. Doing BMI or doing nutritional assessment will help you to go and do further tests. You know, in the past, those people who are having ideal body weight, wow, they were more, mimi sitakuwa na diabetes. And then we look at people who are obese. Even today, you can be as lean as I am, and you can still have diabetes. You can be lean as I am, you can still have high blood pressure, because we have invisible fats. What are these invisible fats? The invisible fats, we call them triglyceride, the visceral fat, the central obesity. So BMI will assist you to categorize yourself, then you go further. For example, what is your ideal body weight? I am 168 centimeters tall. I am 168 centimeters tall. If I want roughly to know my ideal body weight, the last 2 digits, they are my ideal body weight, estimated body weight. Therefore, it means I should not weigh more than 70, because my last 2 digits are 6 and 8. For example, if you are 170 centimeters, the last 2 digits are your ideal body weight. So it means it's not okay for you to weigh 80 kg. It's not okay for you to weigh 85 kg. So the last 2 digits in centimeters, that is your estimated ideal body weight before we sit down and calculate. Now, if you are obese, it's not okay for you to eat 3 chapati, please. If you are obese, it's not okay for you to eat 2 tablespoons of sugar. If you are obese, it's not okay for you to eat more than 2 slices of bread. If you are obese, it's not okay to put sugar in your tea, you put jam in your bread, you put honey in your bread, you drink porridge, you take tea at the same time. That is closer to being glutton if you are obese. That's in a nutshell if you want to lose weight. Next slide, please. Now, hypertension, it has got no warning sign. We have different types of hypertension. We have seen the statistics. We have the primary hypertension or the essential hypertension. Then we have got the secondary hypertension. And the secondary hypertension is more when you have got any other chronic condition, like you have got kidney problem or you have got something called obstructive sleep apnea. But when you have primary hypertension, This is more of the nature, the lifestyle, your activity that you are doing. Other factors that can influence, there are several factors which can influence a person to develop primary hypertension or essential hypertension. Now, conditions that may cause secondary hypertension include kidney disease, adrenal disease, thyroid problems, and obstructive sleep apnea. Now, when you're talking about blood pressure, not only like due to sleep, systolic blood pressure during the heartbeat, when your heart is beating like this, there is a certain number that is not supposed to go above. Then there is a diastolic when your heart is resting after beating. So when you have got high blood pressure, you need to check if there's got an history in the family, if you are overweight, if you are obese, you also need to check your blood pressure. Even if you have got ideal body weight, your BMI is okay, you also need to check your blood pressure. Let us look at the classification of blood pressure. Next slide, please. So we have got the primary hypertension major risk factors. We have got the non-modifiable and modifiable risk factors. Non-modifiable is age. Older than 55 years for men, they are more risk of having hypertension, and women more than 65. Why the age? Because the physical appearance of your kidney keep on changing as you age, which affect the salt and the fluid balance. And then if there's a family history of premature cardiovascular diseases. When we say the family history, we're talking about the genetic factor. It doesn't mean that if there's hypertension in the family, you must have it if it's primary hypertension. When you're talking about the genetic factor, we're talking about the environment factor. You are exposed to the environment that you are raised by your parent. This environment, we're talking about the lifestyle. The environment of Mombasa is about Mahambri. The environment of Mombasa is about Mitai. The environment in Mombasa is about tuk-tuk. Somebody can move from the highway to this place by tuk-tuk. Atashuka kwa matatu, achukue tuk-tuk akuja hapa hivi. That is the environment. So if you raise a child in an environment where there's very minimal activity, then you have got an history of high blood pressure. There's high probability even that child will develop high blood pressure. Then the male gender factor, this is because men don't talk much when they have got a problem. When you see a man in the hospital, this man is in real pain. There's a big problem. Men wait until when they are down, then you see them in the hospital. Women, they have a tendency of checking their health status, coming to the hospital, talking about their problem, sharing about their problem. Stress affects men. And as a couple, but right now a man is seated and anajiuliza atatoa 10 million, anajiuliza, but the woman is here anasema, bora kuna ugali kwa nyumba, kuna mboga, watoto watakula. But for a man, that plot, that car, that fee, no, it's calculating that relationship, that promotion. I know men look for recognition, and when they go through problem, they tend to keep it to themselves. And this is another factor where they cannot express. Now, this is why we are talking about the mental health for men. So most of the men, hata kisumbuko nasikia haya, alikuwa anacheka hapa hivi, ameenda ameua watoto, amejua, amemalizika. But for a woman, will cry, will share, will look for the evangelist, will look for somebody, prayer partner. They discuss about it in the evening. They are okay. But for men, they keep it themselves, increasing their stress level, which is another factor contributing to high blood pressure. So those are the classification of high blood pressure. We have got the normal, which you discussed. Next slide, please. Now, when you talk about high blood pressure, most people avoid salt. Most people eat food without salt because they have got high blood pressure. We don't ask the doctor, why am I not supposed to take salt? The problem is not about the salt intake. The problem with high blood pressure, it is the factor which is causing the body to retain salt. Now, this is what happened. Now, when you take more sugary food, whether you take honey, when you swallow it, it becomes glucose. Whether it's honey from Kitui, whether it's honey from Egypt or Yemen, the moment it drops inside your stomach, we no longer call it natural, pure, artificial, honey from Marigat, honey from Egypt, it is called glucose. Even when you take table sugar, the moment it drops inside your stomach, it changes to become glucose. Now, this is what happened now. For those people who have got high blood pressure and they don't take salt. Now, when you take sugary food, it will force your body to release something called insulin. So the more sugary food you take, the more insulin it will be released. The more insulin it will be released, the more salt it will be retained. So more glucose, more insulin, more salt retention. What happens? So mnaonaga kwa harusi, bibi harusi wakati ya wedding, or people who are traveling going to Kitale. You know, from here to Kitale is around 18 to 20 hours. Unajiuliza mbona waendi short call, or during the wedding unajiuliza mbona bibi harusi endi short call. It's because, you know, when I was young, when we were visiting even our grandparents, and we were very young, those people used to, unajua tuko wengi, there are several cousins, like 20 cousins. So when we wake up in the morning, tunapata kuna mtu amekojoa, but hatujui ni nani. So what our grandmother used to do, after supper, huo mlikuwa mnalamba chumvi, kila mtu analamba chumvi, mnalamba chumvi, so that you retain that water till morning hours. Even during weddings, sometimes people take crepes which has got too much salt. Now, when it comes to high blood pressure, the insulin factor will cause your body to retain more salt. You will find somebody not eating salt but drinking soda. Napata blood pressure napanda juu. You will find somebody taking fresh juice blended at home without added sugar, but you find the sugar, the blood pressure is very high. This is because the more sugary food you take, the higher the insulin, the more the retention of salt. When salt is retained, fluid will be retained. Therefore, there will be excess fluid in the body. Now, the heart will require more force to pump this excess fluid in the blood because of sugar, which causes the body to release insulin, which causes the insulin to retain more salt, which causes the body to have more fluid, forcing the blood pressure to increase. So it's no longer about the salt intake. You can control your salt intake, but you are eating chapati. At the end of the day, that chapati becomes glucose. You are eating 15 mahamri. At the end of the day, that mahamri becomes sugar. It's no longer about the natural sugar or the artificial sugar. It is the portion of the carbohydrate that you are eating. So the best way to avoid or to prevent high blood pressure is to check on your sugar intake, the portion of your carbohydrate. Next slide, please. Diabetes. We have got different types of diabetes. We have type 1 diabetes. What happened with type 1? We don't know what causes the body immunity to attack something called the Langerhans cell, the beta cell. So in type 1, once you are diagnosed, the rest of your life, you'll be using insulin. Now, for type 2 diabetes, it's most common for 30 years and above. The risk factors of type 2 diabetes, it is age. If you are above 40 years and above. Risk factor number 2, if you have got high cholesterol. You can be as lean as I am, but ndani yako kuna mafuta mingi ndani ya mshipa damu. You can be having ideal body weight, but still you can be having high cholesterol. So risk factor of diabetes type 2 is high cholesterol, age, okay, high blood pressure, and obesity, and overweight. If you have got overweight and obesity and central obesity. Why am I talking about the central obesity? This is where fats are stored. There are two types of fats stored around this place, the triglyceride and the visceral fats. What are they doing? The triglyceride and the visceral fat, they cause what we call insulin resistance. The body will release insulin, but there's some resistance. It doesn't cause the cells to open up. Now, for those people who have got type 2 diabetes, two things has happened. Number one, there's insufficient insulin production. Mwili yako inatoa insulin, but the body requires like 2 liters of insulin, but your body releases like 1 liter of insulin. That's just from a layman understanding. Another thing that happens to type 2 diabetes, there is insulin resistance. Your body releases insulin, but there is resistance. So type 2, there is insufficient insulin, or there is resistance to insulin. We shall look what is causing this resistance. So we have looked at the family history can lead to type 2 diabetes. When I'm talking about the family history, it is the environment, your kitchen environment, your fridge. What do you stock in your fridge? Right now, if we go and open your fridge, what are we going to get? 2 liters of soda. There's an ice cream. There's a flavored yogurt there. So the environment is not necessarily also affect the type 2 development of diabetes. Pre-diabetes also can lead to type 2 diabetes. And then we have what we call gestational diabetes. This is occur between 26 to 36 weeks of pregnancy. It usually resolves when you give birth. To some people, it disappears. To other people, it remains. But there's a way that you can go through diet during that period, and we make sure that you don't develop type 2 diabetes. Next slide. Next slide, please. So what are the healthy choices? Physical inactivity. Somebody can be seated here. Moving to this place it can be in an office. Waking up to go and pick water from the dispenser. You'll wait for somebody who's going to pick water. Then you'll say, nifanyie favor please, nikuje na maji. That is one of physical inactivity. Or during dinner, you eat, you sleep there. Hii ni wanaume. Wanaume wanapenda kukula na kulala hapo. That is physical inactivity. When you eat dinner, you are supposed to walk at least 10 to 15 minutes. Baada ya kukula chakula. Umemaliza kukula, it can be within the house or within the compound. You just walk around the house. This is part of physical activity. Physical inactivity, you're moving from the highway to this place by tuk-tuk. Siharibu biashara ya tuk-tuk. But I'm saying there's some distance that you can move and you can burn more calorie. We said motion is lotion. Motion is lotion. So physical inactivity can increase the development of high blood pressure and diabetes. And technology increases also physical inactivity. Nowadays you can order tuk-tuk ama mtu wa boda. Mtu wa boda anaweza kuja kwa nyumba yako. Unapatia mtu wa boda aende Marikiti, hakunulie kila kitu na kuletee. Na kama unaishi first floor, have you ever seen those? Unatupa kamba chini. So you pull the basket. You don't want to go down the stairs. That is one of physical inactivity. Or you can order from Uber. You can order pizza. You can order from KFC, chips. That is one of the physical inactivity. Yet there is less movement. Even when you come to church, when they say, may the grace, can you say hi to two people? You say, may the grace, amen. Off to the gate, tuk-tuk, you go. Move around, say hi to several people, 10 to 15 people. That is part of physical inactivity. Or another, let's go back, please. Another poor eating habit is excess intake of sugary food and drinks. Remember, table sugar is glucose in the body. Honey, it is still sugar in the body. In fact, 100 grams of honey is equivalent to 16 teaspoons of sugar. So whether you take honey or you take table sugar, at the end of the day, that is glucose. Whether it's pure honey, original honey, from Kitui or from wherever, at the end of the day, it is still glucose. So if you're opting to use honey, you need only 1 teaspoon. If you're opting to use sugar, you need only 1 teaspoon. Now for the diabetic, nobody should lie to you that honey is natural. You need also to avoid sugar. For those people who have been diagnosed with diabetes, even if it is pure honey, you avoid pure honey completely. So excessive intake of sugary food and drinks. At the orange, if you squeeze orange at home, if I give you 30 orange to eat, you will not finish. But if I squeeze 30 orange, you will clear a liter, 2 liters of orange within one sitting. So excessive intake of sugary food. What are the sugary drinks? Lucozade, Ribena, Afia, Pick and Peel. They can call it natural. They can call it original. At the end of the day, it is still glucose. Intake of large portion of complex carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrate ni vitu kama sima, ni kama wali. We had a patient who came to our hospital, diabetics type 2. We amputated 1 leg, then we removed 4 toes. Why? This patient was eating brown rice, he was eating brown chapati, he was eating brown ugali, everything was brown. He was eating brown bread. In fact, 1 slice of brown bread gives you an equivalent of 3.4 teaspoons of sugar. 1 slice of brown bread gives you an equivalent of 3.4 teaspoons of sugar. 1 slice of white bread gives you an equivalent of 2.4 teaspoons of sugar. So what do we eat right now? The portion matter. You cannot be diabetic and you are eating 5 slices of brown bread. It will become sugar. Even if you are diabetic, you are eating full plate of rice, brown rice, it will become sugar. In fact, 100 grams of brown cooked rice gives you an equivalent of 9 teaspoons of sugar. 100 grams of brown cooked rice gives you an equivalent of 9 teaspoons of sugar. And then 100 grams of cooked white rice gives you an equivalent of 9 teaspoons of sugar. What is the difference? The fiber, which is very negligible. So whether you eat brown food or you eat white food, what matter is the portion. What matter is the portion. You cannot eat 5 brown chapati. It will still become sugar in the body. Another thing that you need to check is the poor combination of food. Acha tuite watu wa Central Province. Matokotani unachukua mokimo, umeweka pale viazi, it's a carbohydrate. Sikuna kwa na viazi, umeweka pale njae. Njae is more of a carbohydrate than a protein. At ukikula chapati na njae ni kama umekula carbohydrate na carbohydrate. I will give you the slide of the nini. So kule Central Province sina ubaya. Mimi nimeoa kutoka Kerugoya. Nimalizishie nikisema kwamba you cannot mix potato, njae, pumpkins at the same plate. You will gain weight. Even if it's boiled, we don't gain weight by eating fats. Fat does not cause us to gain weight. Carbohydrate is the problem. Fat is not the problem. When your body digests fats, it becomes fatty acid. When your body digests carbohydrate, it becomes glucose, which convert to become fats. When your body digests protein, you can eat 50 chicken, you can eat 100 fish, you can eat eggs daily. There will be no problem. You will not gain weight. But you cannot eat 4 slices of bread, 5 chapati. You will gain more weight. Because of time, thank you.
Thank you very much. May God bless you. We can never exhaust health talk. So all these, you shall have it next Sunday. God bless you, Daktaris, for your presentation. God bless you, Sana. On Sunday, second service, we shall be there. And also on Sunday coming, we shall have a